Chosen ones, brace yourselves. What I am about to reveal will not tickle your ears, nor soothe you with soft comfort. It will shake you to the core, because what heaven is preparing for you is not ordinary. It is destiny. And destiny does not arrive in silk wrappings or sweet lullabies. It comes clothed in storms, in silence, in the stripping away of everything you thought you needed. Heaven is about to move in your life in a way that will feel, at first, like a punishment, a curse, even abandonment. You will question yourself. You will question God. You will wonder why everyone seems to move forward while you are left standing in shadows. But this is no accident. This is not cruelty. It is a divine setup, a hidden strategy designed by heaven itself to prepare you for the breakthrough that will define your life. Before you step into your destiny, heaven will force you into loneliness, not a gentle solitude of peace and rest, but a wilderness of silence so deep that it will echo in your bones. You will feel the sting of being misunderstood, the weight of being excluded, and the ache of seeing relationships fall away like autumn leaves in a cold wind. Friends who once claimed loyalty will grow distant. Family who once felt close may no longer understand you. The invitations will stop. The phone will not ring. The world will seem to shut its doors and leave you standing outside in the night. And in that moment, the enemy will whisper, "See, you are forgotten. You are cursed. You are nothing." But those whispers are lies, for the truth is that this isolation is not rejection. It is protection. It is not abandonment. It is consecration. Loneliness is heaven's classroom, and only those marked by destiny are enrolled in it. In this silence, distractions are burned away. Illusions are shattered. Masks are stripped. You are forced to face the raw, unfiltered truth about who you are and who God has called you to be. It is not an easy place. It is a crushing place. But it is LSO, the only place where God can shape you without interruption, without noise, without the influence of voices that would dilute your calling. This is where he takes you aside, like Moses in the desert, like Joseph in the prison, like Jesus in the wilderness, and says, "Now, I will show you who you truly are." What feels like punishment is actually refinement. What feels like exile is actually elevation in disguise. For the chosen ones, loneliness is not the end of the road. It is the secret gate to power. The silence that seems to swallow you whole is actually the holy womb where destiny is gestating. The very pain you feel is proof that heaven is preparing to entrust you with something so heavy, so glorious, so earth-shattering, that you could not bear it if you were still entangled in the noise of the crowd. And so, heaven tears you away, not to destroy you, but to strengthen you. It is the divine paradox. You must be emptied before you can be filled. You must be hidden before you can be revealed. And you must be alone before you can stand before nations. So do not despise this season, chosen one. Do not mistake silence for absence, nor loneliness for defeat. This is the divine setup, the secret strategy of heaven. What looks like loss is the beginning of gain. What looks like abandonment is actually the embrace of God, drawing you closer than ever before. For in this sacred loneliness, you are not forgotten. You are being written into the eternal script of heaven's plan. This isn't gentle solitude. This is not the peaceful quiet of a Sunday afternoon or the calm retreat of a weary soul seeking rest. No, this is a storm of silence that shakes the very core of your being. It is a silence that does not comfort but confronts. A silence so heavy it feels as though the air itself has turned against you, pressing down on your chest until every breath becomes an act of will. It is the kind of silence that swallows you whole, leaving you with nothing to cling to but the echo of your own heartbeat and the whispers of heaven that you can barely discern. In this storm, you will feel abandoned. You will feel as though even God has stepped away, leaving you to stumble in the darkness. Friends who once laughed with you will no longer answer your call. Family who once seemed so close will no longer recognize the language of your soul. You will be misunderstood, painted with colors that do not belong to you, accused of things you never did, and judged for paths you never chose. Betrayal will pierce you deeper than any sword, for it will not come from strangers, but from those you trusted most. And as the world rushes forward with its noise, its distractions, and its counterfeit joys, you will feel the distance between you and others grow wider. Like a fog creeping in, cold and unrelenting, forcing you to stand face to face with yourself. And it is here, in this terrifying silence, that illusions begin to shatter. The masks people wear around you, the smiles that once felt warm, the connections that once seemed secure. Suddenly, you see them for what they are. You begin to realize that many of the relationships you thought were built on love were actually built on convenience, on comfort, on illusion. You see that many people were never walking with you. They were walking with what you could offer them. And when heaven strips these illusions away, when those false foundations are torn down, it feels as though your entire world is unraveling. But hear me clearly. This unraveling is not destruction. It is construction. It is heaven's holy demolition. God will not allow false scaffolding to hold up the weight of the destiny He has designed for you. He tears down the flimsy walls of illusion to rebuild you on a foundation that cannot be shaken. What feels like loss is actually the removal of rot. What feels like abandonment is the removal of counterfeit alliances. What feels like betrayal is the unveiling of truth that was hidden in shadows. And though it feels as though everything around you is collapsing, what is really happening is the hand of the master architect clearing away rubble so he can build something eternal within you. Loneliness is not the grave of the chosen one. It is the construction site. The tearing down must come before the raising up. Just as a field must be plowed before it can be seeded, your soul must be stripped before it can be filled. Just as a sculptor chips away stone to reveal the masterpiece hidden within, heaven chips away every falsehood, every distraction, every attachment that would dilute your destiny. It feels brutal. It feels merciless, but it is love in its highest form, for heaven refuses to let you settle for shadows when you were created to carry light. So when you find yourself standing in the silence, when the storm has stripped away every familiar voice and every comforting illusion, remember this: you are not being punished. You're being prepared. You are not unraveling. You are being rewoven into a garment of strength. You are not abandoned. You are being hidden for a season until the day of unveiling. And though the storm of silence may swallow you for a time, you will emerge from it not broken, but rebuilt, not destroyed, but destined. The prophet Isaiah declared, "In returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength." Isaiah 30, verse 15. These words were not written for the complacent or the crowd chasers. They were spoken to the ones God calls apart, the ones who must learn to draw strength not from the noise of man, but from the silence of heaven. Chosen ones, your loneliness is not punishment. It is preparation. It is not exile. It is refinement. Like gold that must pass through fire before it can shine, your soul is being purified in the crucible of isolation. You are being stripped of everything false so that what remains will be unshakable, eternal, indestructible. The world calls this weakness, but heaven calls it your fortress. For as Psalm 37 verse 7 declares, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him." In that stillness, God is teaching you a strength no storm can break, a faith no trial can drown, and a peace no enemy can steal. What looks like silence is actually training. What feels like emptiness is actually equipping. And the quiet chamber where you sit weeping alone is the very place where heaven is writing the blueprint of your destiny. But to those around you, this silence unsettles. Your withdrawal makes them nervous. Your quietness exposes their noise. They cannot understand why you no longer chase after the same things they do, why you no longer cling to shallow conversations or desperate validation. To them, it feels like arrogance, as though you have lifted yourself above them. But it is not pride, it is freedom. Freedom from the endless performance of trying to be what the world wants you to be. Freedom from illusions that once held you captive. Freedom from the suffocating need to belong to a crowd that never truly knew you in the first place. You have been liberated from the chains of fitting in, and that liberation is terrifying to those who still wear them. The awakened soul is like a cathedral, admired from a distance, but rarely entered. People marvel at the beauty of the spire, the majesty of the arches, the glow of the stained glass windows. But few dare to step inside, because inside the cathedral, truth echoes like thunder. Inside, silence is holy, and light pierces like a sword. Those who live in shadows cannot bear such brightness. And so, they mock what they do not understand. They reject what they cannot comprehend. They mislabel you because your presence exposes their illusions. The same people who once clapped for you will now whisper against you, not because you changed, but because your silence reveals their noise. Jesus himself warned us of this paradox. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. John 15, verse 18. The rejection you face is not evidence of failure. It is confirmation of your calling. For if you truly belong to the world, it would embrace you, celebrate you, flatter you. But because you carry the frequency of heaven, you stand out like light in darkness, and the darkness cannot comprehend it. Their hatred is proof of your difference. Their betrayal is proof of your separation. Their rejection is proof that heaven has marked you. And while their rejection cuts, it also crowns you. For every tear you shed in loneliness is a jewel being set into the crown of glory that awaits you. So, chosen one, do not shrink back. Do not apologize for the silence that now defines you. Do not run back to the crowd just to ease the ache of being different. You were never called to fit in. You were called to stand out. You were never called to be understood. You were called to be set apart. And though the loneliness burns, though the silence cuts, though the rejection stings, you are not losing. You are being lifted. For heaven is doing in the dark what will one day be revealed in the light. And the very thing that makes them reject you now will be the very reason they honor you later to TO those around you. Your silence unsettles them. Your withdrawal confuses them. They cannot understand why you no longer chase the noise they crave, why you no longer bow to the same rhythms that once bound you. They interpret your distance as arrogance, your quiet as pride, your separation as rebellion. But they are wrong. It is not pride. It is freedom. Freedom from performance. Freedom from illusions. Freedom from the exhausting weight of masks that no longer fit your spirit. You are not retreating because you think yourself above them. You are retreating because heaven has pulled you apart for something greater. You have outgrown the shallow waters where others are content to wade, and now you are being drawn into the depths where few dare to swim. The awakened soul is like a cathedral, majestic, immovable, and sacred. From afar, many admire it, awed by its beauty. But few dare to step inside. Why? Because inside, the air is different. The silence is deafening. The light that streams through its stained glass windows is not gentle. It is piercing, raw, and holy. It blinds the eyes that have only known shadows. In the same way, your awakened presence unsettles those who remain in darkness. Your light reveals what they try to hide, and so rather than face their own reflection, they mock yours. The world will always mock what it cannot understand. It will reject what it cannot control. It will mislabel what it secretly envies. They will call your silence arrogance. They will call your stillness laziness. They will call your separation strangeness. But chosen one, remember the words of Jesus in John 15, verse 18. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. Their rejection is not evidence of your failure. It is confirmation of your calling. The prophets were mocked. The apostles were ridiculed. Even Christ himself was despised and rejected by men, as Isaiah 53 declares. Why then should you expect applause when you walk the narrow road? Why then should you long for the approval of those who cannot even see the path you walk? Your rejection is not a curse. It is a crown. Every insult hurled at you is another jewel embedded in the diadem of your destiny. And so you must not be disheartened, for while the world turns away from you, heaven leans closer. While others misinterpret your silence, the angels record it as worship. While they say you have lost your way, the Father says you are finally on the narrow path that leads to life. Do not mistake their rejection as abandonment. Their rejection is God's protection. Their distance is God's deliverance. He is cutting the cords that tether you to the familiar, because what is familiar cannot carry you into the future He has prepared. Chosen one, do not mourn over who walked away. Do not chase those who could not see your worth. Do not beg for entry into circles that heaven already shut you out of. Their rejection was heaven's redirection. Their mockery was heaven's confirmation. Their silence was heaven's way of clearing the noise so you could finally hear the whisper of God. And when the time comes, when heaven unveils you in the fullness of your calling, the same mouths that mocked you will testify of you. The same eyes that rolled in scorn will widen in awe. The same voices that dismissed you will declare, surely the hand of the Lord was upon them. Until then, stand. Endure the labels, endure the stares, endure the loneliness. For this wilderness is not your grave, it is your birthplace. And though they reject you now, remember, rejection is not the end. Rejection is the doorway through which chosen ones are crowned. Look at creation, chosen one. Nature itself preaches the sermon that so many overlook. The earth, the seas, the skies, they all declare the truth of heaven's design. Consider the cedar of Lebanon. It is not small, fragile, or timid. It is one of the mightiest trees in Scripture, often used as a symbol of strength and royalty. But do you know why the cedar grows so tall and unshakable? Because it is planted in the fiercest winds. The storm that bends weaker trees is the same storm that roots the cedar deeper. Every gust that howls against it only presses its roots further into the soil, teaching it resilience. Without the storm, the cedar would never reach the heavens. Without loneliness, you would never reach the stature heaven has destined for you. Consider the lanternfish of the deep sea, hidden in the crushing depths, where no sunlight dares to reach. It carries its own light. It glows without an audience. It shines without applause. It burns with brilliance, even though no one may ever see it. This is the mystery of the chosen one. You are being trained to shine in places no eye sees, to carry a light not dependent on recognition, but sustained by the eternal flame within. And is it not written? The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1 verse 5. Even history bows to this truth. Think of Elijah, weary and broken, hiding in the cave. He expected God to come in the earthquake. He expected God to come in the fire. He expected God to come in the wind. But God was not in any of these. Instead, he came in the whisper. 1 Kings 19 verse 12. A whisper so gentle, yet so powerful, it shifted the prophet's soul. Do you see it? The whisper only comes in silence. The voice of God is most clearly heard in the chamber of loneliness, where distractions have been stripped away. Loneliness, then, is not chaos. It is architecture. Heaven is building something with your isolation. Every quiet night is another beam laid. Every unanswered phone call is another stone set. Every moment of silence is scaffolding, raising you higher, shaping you into a vessel that can hold the weight of glory. You are not crumbling. You are being constructed. Look again at the rhythm of nature. Seeds do not sprout on the surface. They must first be buried in the darkness of the soil, cut off from the world above. Alone, pressed down, surrounded by silence. And yet, that darkness is not death. It is womb. It is process. It is the sacred work that no eye can see. Only after the crushing silence does the seed break open and push through the soil into the light. This is the sermon creation is preaching to you. Do not despise your season of isolation. It is not exile, it is preparation. The winds that batter you are strengthening your roots. The darkness that hides you is teaching you to carry your own flame. The silence that surrounds you is tuning your ear to the whisper of God. Loneliness is not abandonment. It is divine design. It is heaven's architecture. Jesus declared in John 8 verse 32, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." But freedom, chosen one, is never free. It carries a price so heavy that many are unwilling to pay it. The more truth you carry, the less you can tolerate the counterfeit. Suddenly, the conversations that once entertained you become empty. Small talk feels like noise. Gossip sounds like poison. The endless scramble for validation, the desperate thirst for applause, the shallow games of status and image, your spirit can no longer digest them. The things that once fed your flesh now starve your soul. Why? Because once heaven deposits truth in you, you are ruined for the ordinary. You cannot go back to living half asleep when your eyes have been opened. You cannot sit at tables where bread is fake and wine is bitter when you've tasted the true manna from above. The awakening makes you restless for authenticity, desperate for eternity. And in that hunger, you find yourself separated, not by choice but by design. The pursuit of truth will always set you apart. It makes you a stranger in a world addicted to illusions. You will feel the distance widening. Friends you once laughed with may now call you too serious. family may accuse you of being different or difficult. The truth will isolate you because few want its demands. Many admire it from afar, but few are willing to pay its cost. And yet, this is the narrow path Jesus spoke of in Matthew 7 verses 13 to 14. Enter by the narrow gate. Every gust that howls against it only presses its roots further into the soil, teaching it resilience. Without the storm, the cedar would never reach the heavens. Without loneliness, you would never reach the stature heaven has destined for you. Consider the lanternfish of the deep sea, hidden in the crushing depths, where no sunlight dares to reach. It carries its own light. It glows without an audience. It shines without applause. It burns with brilliance, even though no one may ever see it. This is the mystery of the chosen one. You are being trained to shine in places no eye sees, to carry a light not dependent on recognition, but sustained by the eternal flame within. And is it not written? The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1 verse 5. Even history bows to this truth. Think of Elijah, weary and broken, hiding in the cave. He expected God to come in the earthquake. He expected God to come in the fire. He expected God to come in the wind. But God was not in any of these. Instead, he came in the whisper. 1 Kings 19 verse 12. A whisper so gentle, yet so powerful, it shifted the prophet's soul. Do you see it? The whisper only comes in silence. The voice of God is most clearly heard in the chamber of loneliness, where distractions have been stripped away. Loneliness, then, is not chaos. It is architecture. Heaven is building something with your isolation. Every quiet night is another beam laid. Every unanswered phone call is another stone set. Every moment of silence is scaffolding, raising you higher, shaping you into a vessel that can hold the weight of glory. You are not crumbling. You are being constructed. Look again at the rhythm of nature. Seeds do not sprout on the surface. They must first be buried in the darkness of the soil, cut off from the world above. Alone, pressed down, surrounded by silence. And yet, that darkness is not death, it is womb. It is process. It is the sacred work that no eye can see. And yet, that darkness is not death, it is womb. It is process. It is the sacred work that no eye can see. Only after the crushing silence does the seed break open and push through the soil into the light. This is the sermon creation is preaching to you. Do not despise your season of isolation. It is not exile, it is preparation. The winds that batter you are strengthening your roots. The darkness that hides you is teaching you to carry your own flame. The silence that surrounds you is tuning your ear to the whisper of God. Loneliness is not abandonment. It is divine design. It is heaven's architecture. Jesus declared in John 8 verse 32, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." But freedom, chosen one, is never free. It carries a price so heavy that many are unwilling to pay it. The more truth you carry, the less you can tolerate the counterfeit. Suddenly, the conversations that once entertained you become empty. Small talk feels like noise. Gossip sounds like poison. The endless scramble for validation, the desperate thirst for applause, the shallow games of status and image, your spirit can no longer digest them. The things that once fed your flesh now starve your soul. Why? Because once heaven deposits truth in you, you are ruined for the ordinary. You cannot go back to living half asleep when your eyes have been opened. You cannot sit at tables where bread is fake and wine is bitter when you've tasted the true manna from above. The awakening makes you restless for authenticity, desperate for eternity. And in that hunger, you find yourself separated, not by choice, but by design. The pursuit of truth will always set you apart. It makes you a stranger in a world addicted to illusions. You will feel the distance widening. Friends you once laughed with may now call you too serious. Family may accuse you of being different or difficult. The truth will isolate you because few want its demands. Many admire it from afar, but few are willing to pay its cost. And yet, this is the narrow path Jesus spoke of in Matthew 7 verses 13 to 14. Enter by the narrow gate. For the gate is wide, and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. But the gate is narrow, and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. The narrow path is not crowded. It is not glamorous. It is often lonely, but it is the only road that leads to life. The truth exposes. It strips away illusions. It cuts with a sharp edge. Hebrews 4 verse 12 tells us that the Word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and spirit, of joints and marrow. And when that sword enters your life, it severs attachments, breaks false bonds, and dismantles lies you once believed. This process hurts. It feels like loss, but in reality, it is liberation. Freedom does not look like dancing in the crowd. Freedom looks like standing alone with Christ, unshaken by the storm, unafraid of rejection, unmoved by lies. Freedom is not comfort. Freedom is clarity. Freedom is the boldness to walk away from what everyone else clings to. Freedom is carrying eternity in your heart while the world chases dust. Do you see the cost now? To carry truth means to live misunderstood. To carry truth means to accept rejection. To carry truth means to embrace loneliness. But chosen one, that loneliness is not emptiness. It is sacred space. It is proof that you are walking where few dare to tread. Yes, the narrow path is lonely, but it is also radiant. For on this road, you are never truly alone. Christ himself walks with you, step by step. The one who is the truth, John 14 verse 6, has gone before you, and he is the companion who never abandons. While the world rejects you, heaven embraces you. While men misunderstand you, the Spirit intercedes for you. While the crowd mocks, the angels applaud. So do not mourn the cost. Wear it like a crown. For though the truth isolates you, it also elevates you. Though the narrow road is hard, it leads to life everlasting. And when the dust of this world fades away, when every illusion crumbles, it will be you, the one who chose truth over comfort, who stands unshaken, crowned with life, radiant with glory. Chosen one, hear this clearly. Your loneliness is not a cage, no matter how it feels in the midnight hours. It is not a prison where you are forgotten. It is a corridor, a sacred hallway carved by heaven's own hands. It is the narrow passage before the great palace doors swing open. The darkness of the tunnel is only proof that light is waiting at the other end. Your solitude is not punishment, it is precision. Heaven is fine-tuning you, stripping away the static, so that your soul resonates with the very frequency of eternity. You are being aligned with the divine. The silence that unnerves others is the same silence where heaven is sharpening your discernment, amplifying your spirit, and training your ear to hear whispers that others miss. When the moment comes, When destiny collides with obedience, your life will not sound like the noise of this world. It will vibrate with a power that cannot be explained, only witnessed. The psalmist wrote in Psalm 34, verse 18, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." Do you see it? Loneliness does not drive him away. It draws him closer. Every tear you've cried in secret has been collected. Every sigh of your spirit has been recorded. Every night you thought heaven was silent, heaven was actually speaking, through protection, through pruning, through positioning. Stand tall, chosen one. Let the world misinterpret your silence. Let them call your withdrawal arrogance. Let them label your solitude weakness. For what they see as weakness is actually your womb. They cannot comprehend what is being birthed inside of you. They see only the shell of isolation. But heaven sees the masterpiece under construction. Isaiah 60 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." You will not stay hidden forever. The season of silence is temporary, but the glory being prepared in that silence is eternal. The stone that the builders rejected will become the cornerstone. The life they mocked will become the testimony they cannot deny. Your breakthrough is not pending. It is already written. It is drafted in heaven's blueprint, sealed with the blood of the Lamb, guarded by angels who wait for the signal of release. You may not see it yet, but heaven is building behind the curtain. The scaffolding of your destiny is being raised even now. And when it is unveiled, it will not be a shack. It will be a cathedral, a place so radiant, so undeniable, that even your enemies will be forced to admit, surely the hand of the Lord was upon them. Do not rush this process. Do not despise this passage. The corridor may feel narrow, but it leads to wide open doors. The silence may feel endless, but it is setting the stage for a sound that will echo across generations. You are not being diminished. You are being refined. You are not being abandoned. You are being prepared. And when heaven's appointed time comes, when the doors swing open, you will walk not in shame, but in glory. Not in weakness, but in power. Not in doubt, but in unshakable faith. Your loneliness will be revealed as the birthplace of your destiny. Your tears will be translated into testimonies. Your silence will erupt into songs of victory. Chosen one, hold fast. The cathedral is rising. If you feel this storm of loneliness shaping you, comment 777 below. Why 777? Because it is the number of completion, the stamp of heaven's perfection, the seal that says your story will not end in ashes, but in glory. By writing it, you're declaring, I agree with heaven's timing. I agree with heaven's molding. I agree that my loneliness is not in vain. Do not hold this word only for yourself. There are others, hidden, trembling, doubting, that need to hear what you just heard. Share this message with another chosen one who needs strength, and in your obedience, you become part of their rescue. Sometimes your simple act of sharing becomes the rope that pulls another out of despair. And if this word touched your spirit, if it awakened something inside of you, if it felt like God Himself was whispering through these words, then seal it with gratitude. Give thanks with a super thanks to help us spread the light. Every offering of support becomes a torch that pushes back the shadows, a spark that allows these words to reach further, deeper, higher. You're not just sowing into content. You are sowing into kingdom work, into a message that lifts the weary and strengthens the chosen. Chosen one, your loneliness is not the end. It is not the grave. It is not the final chapter. It is the gate of eternity. It is the doorway through which glory enters. It is the threshing floor where the chaff is burned and the wheat is preserved. Lift your head. Your tears have been counted. Your silence has been recorded. Your prayers in the midnight hour have not gone unnoticed. Heaven has bottled every cry. And the same God who was with Joseph in prison, with Daniel in the lion's den, with John exiled on Patmos, is with you right now in your hidden place. Soon, the trumpet of unveiling will sound. Soon, the doors that no man can shut will open. Soon, the same ones who dismissed you will say, "Surely, the hand of the Lord was upon them." So comment 777 as your declaration of faith. Share this word with a brother or sister in the wilderness. Support the light if you can. But above all, stand firm. Your breakthrough is nearer than it looks. The loneliness that tried to bury you will become the testimony that crowns you.